What's up, guys? I think it's on the 18th of May 2026. And today I've got two very special things to tell you about. The very first thing, I think it's probably the most important thing that's going to change your whole life. That is those cereals. So I have no idea why Jack the Ripper came out and like threw his fucking knife in it and just like split the packet in half. But this, if you are in the bulk, this is the best thing on the entire planet. Like, literally, I'm just going to read it out loud. All right. So that is, I don't know what I said. Anyways, that is like 8 grams of protein per 100 grams. There's a lot of like fiber, and it's also like a lot of calories. If you are like a fucking skinny ass, just like I used to be, eat this. I'm pretty much eating it every single night. I don't know why. I have to eat this bowl of cereal with like milk just before I go to bed. I mean, of course, just going to brush my teeth afterwards. But this is just so comfy, so relaxing. I have this with like a cup of tea. No mint tea because it like suppresses the iron, so you pretty much lose a lot of like nutrients. But get those cereals; they're just absolutely fucking delicious. And just have a cup of tea, go to bed, whatever. This has become also like making these little videos has become also my I would say ritual of the night. As you can see, I've invested in a little lighting on the side so it looks a bit better. But most importantly, the very like topic of tonight's video is nuclear fusion, and not like the first thing is, and I don't want to delve too deep into this because there is so much to talk about. But the first thing to know is that you've got nuclear fission, like fission. That is, you take a heavy atom and then you split it into like lighter atoms, and you've got fusion. So you take light atoms and you like fuse them, fusion, into a heavier one. Fission we can already do. Fusion we can also already do, but not on a commercial scale. So today we're going to talk about fusion. And one thing you have to know is that we already do in the universe fusion. Stars are doing fusion, and we can only like do it on the planet. And we also did it, for example, by just taking some light atoms and just like fusing them into something heavier. But the coolest thing is something that I find extremely amazing that is made by a company called Helion Energy. So what these guys are doing, it's like a Y Combinator backed startup. I think Sam Altman, so the guy from OpenAI, literally invested personally 375 millions into it. And they also have a contract with Microsoft to power the data centers in 2028. So that is like literally tomorrow. What these guys have managed to do is produce electricity without using the traditional turbine. Because in the entire like planet Earth, if you want to generate electricity, at some point you're going to have like a turbine, so something that spins, and you've got one coil, another coil, and the coil spinning into the other coil. It creates like a magnetic field. It pretty much like creates electricity out of having a coil that either does this, it's very weird, or like turning like this. And it creates electricity that we just send onto the power grid. It's like the very simplified version, of course, because as you guessed it's fucking energy, so it's very complicated. But they found a way, because electricity is electrons. So if you take an atom, you've got protons, you've got a neutron, like different. You can have like different protons. Protons are what determines the what the like atom is about. So if you've got one proton, it's hydrogen. If you've got two, it's helium. Blah blah blah. So the proton is called the atomic number, and then you've got neutrons. You can have a different number of neutrons per proton. So for example, if you've got like different like numbers of neutrons for a given proton number, it is what is called isotopes. So if you take, for example, I don't want to say shit. Like if you take hydrogen in its base form, they only have like one proton and one electron. So the proton is positively electrically charged, so it's like a plus, and the electron is a minus. And as you may know, if you take two magnets and they've got opposite like charges, they stick together. But if they've got like similar charges, they repel each other. So if you've got a plus, that is a proton, and a minus, that is the electron, they're going to want to have to stick around one each other. And now, if you take like the neutron and the proton, they want to stick are close to each other, given like a specific force, which is called, I don't have the very specific translation in English, but it's like the hard nuclear force. So it is one of the most, if not the most powerful force in the entire universe, like far beyond the electromagnetic, like, getting together force and the gravity. So those are the things that I'm really trying to keep very simple. Of course, you've got to know a little bit about physics, anyways. So if you take those isotopes, that is one thing. But then if you take like the basic one, so that is hydrogen, one proton, one neutron, that is basic hydrogen. Then if you had a neutron, it becomes deuterium. So it's one proton, one neutron, one electron. And now if you had another neutron, it becomes tritium or tritium. I think it's tritium in English. So if you've got like deuterium and tritium, it's tritium. Those are the most common used elements when you want to do like nuclear fusion. So usually going to find them into what we call stellarators or tokamaks. Those are two like donut-shaped design, and what you do is like you warm this deuterium and like tritium very, 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 very like high. It's like even hotter than this like the core of the sun, and they fuse together and they create heavier atoms. So it's usually like if I don't say any shit, it's usually like either helium, I think, or like isotope of helium. I need to dig more into this because the one I really love is the one done by Helion Energy. What they do is they take those plasma and they make some kind of like plasma balls on both ends of a cylinder, and then because plasma is positively charged, because pretty much it is they take those atoms and they strip them from their neutrons because it's so high that pretty much the neutron is like going every fucking places. So what we've got is like plasma. Plasma is like very, very high temperature atoms, so they move very, very fast because heat means like particles moving very, very fast. They take those particles and then they make like an electrical field that pushes that plasma into the center of the cylinder, and it crushes them so fast, and it is hot that it fuses in the middle. Not only that, but it also releases electrons inside of like a system that's here to collect them. If I don't say any shit. So what that means is, since we can collect electrons, it means that we are creating electricity not using a fucking turbine, and that is absolutely wonders. Can you imagine, like for I would say hundreds of years, we've been like making fucking electricity. So first it was using like literally like a pill of like copper and zinc. If I don't say any shit, they were like taking those discs and like stacking them onto one another. And then they had a solution that was into like a piece of tissue, like a piece of clothing. They put like a water aqua solution onto that pile of like zinc and copper, and it would create electricity. But that was very, very like low volume and low intensity and low voltage. But now we are literally creating electricity by stripping atoms, like by stripping electrons from atoms. How cool is this? I mean, yeah, it is very niche, and I explain it in a way that makes it absolutely unclear. And I'm very sorry, but I'm just autistically loving this. What that means is, in the future, we're going to be able to create electricity without the same thing that we've been using into like for like hundreds of years. How cool is this? Not as cool as my series, of course, but still absolutely fucking wonders. And just to give you like a quick perspective, because if Helion managed to do what they are doing at like a commercial scale, we've got enough fuel. If we take our consumption of today and multiply it by 100, we still have enough fuel to fuel our 100 times X consumption for a million year minimum, which means that we would solve most of our energy problems because everything would go like through fusion and would produce and be using like clean, green, cheap, almost infinite electricity. And that is why I am like pushing like so hard into like nuclear fusion, because this is the way forward. No solar, no wind turbines, no like hydro, whatever. those are all terrible when you look at nuclear fusion. And so many people, they don't understand the difference between like nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. You cannot make bombs with nuclear fusion. And still today, if we unlock nuclear fusion, it means that you can prevent everybody from like having to enrich uranium. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's very hard for me. Uranium, which is like really the base material for bombs, and but also for like public nuclear fission. So what you find in plants, in power plants. So if everybody has access to fusion, you cannot make bombs out of it. It's like unlimited cheap green energy, and it's safe. So that's why I'm like so enthusiastic about having fusion. Is because it's just going to like solve most of our problems, wars, food, electricity, allowing us to like travel any farther than we've ever been into the universe and just discovering wonderful technologies because we won't have to think about power and all of this being like very cheap and clean. What can you ask more? It's literally like the fusion of mankind. It's even bigger than AI. Like you cannot realize how important that is to literally have everybody working towards bringing nuclear fusion to mankind. That is literally why I'm building Mersha. And it's very niche. But one of the key problems you've got when you want to do anything that requires a lot of like regulation and stuff like this is um, compliance. And the compliance usually takes the form of like a lot of PDFs, a lot of value that you have to extract and compare with norms manually. And in the age of AI, in the age of like this whole new bunch of intelligence, well, the people who are just being paid are like looking at screens and looking at values, comparing them with other values. They can be put onto better jobs and let the machines do the machine work. Because this is like literally a machine work. There is no intelligence into this. There is nothing creative. The mankind and human have been made to create, to invent, to be like artistic, to create great stuff, not to read fucking numbers and compare them and just optimize or read or compare. We have not been brought onto this planet into existence for this. We have been brought here to do and to live the full extent of what life has to bring to us. And I don't think that reading PDFs and like cross-referencing and cross-checking values is peak uh, life for a human. So I'm just trying to do my best as me myself to make humanity move forward. It's a great quest. I don't know how far I'll be able to get into this. I know it's been very hectic so far, and my explanation of like nuclear energy and nuclear fission can be a bit messy. I just love it so much, and I still have so much to learn. But it's just important that everybody understands the like core principle that is, we take two atoms and we fuse them together and we create electricity out of this because Einstein discovered that E equals mc squared. Anyways, have a wonderful night and see you tomorrow.